Stormy Daniels' former lawyer took the stand as former President Trump's hush money trial continued today.
Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. As Errol Burnett explains, the judge found Trump guilty of violating his gag order.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to go into the icebox now.
As the hush money criminal trial of Donald Trump got underway Tuesday, Judge Juan Merchan held the former president in contempt of court, fining him $9,000 for violating his gag order 9 times. Trump has since removed the social media and campaign website posts the judge found violated the gag order. On Thursday, Judge Merchan will hear about 4 more alleged violations and suggested fines may not stop the former president from attacking witnesses and jurors. In a written order, the judge suggested, quote, jail may be a necessary punishment.
The next time there's a violation of the gag order, if and when, I don't think we'll see jail time. I think there'll be a couple of monetary warnings, and then you could potentially see jail time.
Tuesday afternoon, prosecutors called Keith Davidson to the stand, the former lawyer for both Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. Daniels claims she had a sexual encounter with Trump, and McDougal says she and Trump had an affair lasting 10 months. Trump has denied both allegations. Davidson testified there was a bidding war for McDougal's story. Jurors saw texts between him and former National Enquirer editor Dylan Howard. I have a blockbuster Trump story, Davidson wrote June 7, 2016. Howard responded, I will get you more than anyone for it. You know why. Judge Merchan also announced there will be no court May 17th, so Trump can attend his son's graduation. Another son, Eric, was at the courthouse Tuesday, the first family member to attend Trump's criminal proceedings. Errol Barnett, CBS News, New York.
And Trump is scheduled to stop at MBS Airport in Freeland in Saginaw County tomorrow at 6 p.m.
A CBS poll shedding light on what voters think in the battleground states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. We're going to focus on Michigan. When asked about the economy, 62% of voters say that the economy was better during the Trump presidency. As for the economy before and after the COVID-19 pandemic, 50% say it got better and 29% say it got worse.
Among people likely to vote for Trump, most say the economy is a major factor. And for those planning to vote for Biden, most say democracy is a major factor.
So joining us live in studio, we have Democratic strategist Beverly Watts. And on Zoom, we are joined by Republican consultant Jason Cable-Rowe. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So Beverly, your thoughts on those voters in that poll saying that it was better with President Trump in office?
Well, again, I can respect people who participate in the polls. Remember, that's not 100%. But, you know, for those voters who are supporting the previous president, of course, you know, I admire what they say it was better then. But you got to remember COVID. We didn't have a full term post-pandemic when you had a lot of the economy suffered, a lot of businesses were lost, a lot of money had to be given out to families and businesses, to supporters during this worldwide disease. So of course you're going to see the inflation in the economy has to take a hit. There's no magic money around. So of course you're going to find out and feel that before the pandemic, the economy looked, you know, slightly better. However, I cannot remember time during any election when people didn't have economy, and in economy, number one. And inflation is always number one.
Sure. Well, Jason, another poll came out by Emerson College that found former President Trump ahead of President Biden in several key battleground states, though slightly and within the margin of error. What do you think about those? We've seen a lot of polls that in the end weren't the most trustworthy in recent years. Can we trust polls at this point?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for from the polls. And, you know, it's always a snapshot, and a number of things happen between polls. But I would say this, consistently in those battleground states referenced in the Emerson poll, Trump has had a lead in just about every poll that's come out this year in those battleground states. It has been consistent. It's particularly important to recognize that he never led in polls in 2020. He was always trailing and only narrowly lost. And so, you know, I think Trump voters are notoriously hard to poll and get their participation so that you can get an accurate reading. So unfortunately for Democrats, I think having polls with Trump with a narrow lead probably means he has a slightly larger lead than what's reflected in that polling.
Despite the polling, there's still so much playing out, Beverly, with the former president and this trial that's going on. Considering that that is in the background of all of this, your thoughts there?
Yes, and actually with this poll and the recent one that was taken less than 24 hours ago in the battleground states, but particularly here in Michigan, you only see them separated by 1 point. If you look at where the polling was less than 5% a couple months ago, you've seen that Biden has closed that gap. You look at the error margin of 3%, that's really a dead heat. Interesting, that poll also said over 50% of Michiganders feel that this trial is not a witch hunt. It's very much on the mind. So I think that if I was, giving consultation to the former president, I would say, hey, you better start acting presidential. Because here in Michigan, over 50% says that trial matters to them.
Jason, are you concerned about the effect of the multiple trials? Although it does seem unlikely that we will see any come to a resolution before the election. Are you concerned about the downstream effects of this on the candidate Trump and the potential President Trump?
I don't really see Trump's problems being problems for Republican candidates for other office. I mean, I think everyone knows, regardless of their ideological persuasion, that Trump is his own animal, and it's hard to hold any other candidate accountable for or responsible to Donald Trump. With Trump, there's never anything that's surprising. I mean, we've been talking about these trials, well before the first indictment came from Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. So the media and pundits have been speculating on the trials. The trials, the indictments came down. Then, we have consumed ourselves with discussions about, what's going on. And now we have trials that are taking place. And that is obviously consuming cable news and social media. But I don't think there's going to be anything revelatory. If they get Trump, people that like Trump will say, not that they necessarily think he's guilty, but that they finally found a way to get him. And for those that don't like Trump, it will confirm what they already believe. But, I appreciate what Beverly says that relates to what people are saying in the polls. But Trump has been defying gravity politically and polling since he came down the escalator 8 years ago. So I don't think that his travails are necessarily going to affect other Republicans for Senate, for Congress, state legislature, governor, et cetera.
Jason, interested to hear your thoughts on him saying that these trials are nothing more than another political witch hunt.
Well, it's not new material. He has used that language with every institution that has gone after him, whether it is legal, prosecutors that have been going after him, whether it was the impeachment trials, the Russiagate impeachment. So, I mean, this is new territory, and this stuff predated him becoming a candidate even. I mean, in other points in his life when he has not prevailed in certain situations, he is accused the process of being rigged and things like that. So this is a kind of a go-to move for him. So I don't read a whole lot into it.
Let's talk about another candidate, RFK Jr., on the ballot here in Michigan, apparently going to be on the ballot in a number of other states. Both campaigns, both Trump and Biden, seem to be a little bit concerned about it. Beverly, who do you think he has the potential to be a spoiler candidate for, the Democrats or Republicans?
Republicans.
Why is
that? Because of his beliefs and his politics and his rhetoric. It seems more similar to the former president. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of Democrats. I do not believe that he will steal any votes from Biden's base. And in even the 11% of undecided voters. I just do not feel that.
How about you, Jason?
I think it's too early to know. We've got another 6 months, so we don't know what states he will be on the ballot in, and we don't know how these campaigns are going to play out. I know for the White House Correspondents' Dinner over the weekend that President Biden spoke at, he made jokes about his age and tried to be a part of that joke, but I think it was hard to ignore that as well as the joke writing was, the joke delivery was not particularly good, and he looked really old on that stage. And he had the benefit of the 2020 election not having to be president nor run for president, both which are incredibly taxing jobs. And he has to do both of those things now. And I think his age is going to show itself more and more over the course of the campaign. And I think there's going to be some voters that are looking for an alternative to Biden. And they might not find Donald Trump a comfortable home for them. I think the way things play out in Israel and the Gaza Strip are going to have an impact. So a lot of Democratic voters within the progressive part of the coalition, whether they be Arab or young people, may want to protest. I mean, they are trying to pressure the president as well as our government and our educational institutions into taking a hard line on the Palestinian side of that conflict. And if they don't get their way, how are they going to respond? So I think it's really too early to tell who's going to suffer more from RFK's candidacy, or if it even matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, we will see in the coming months. Beverly Watts and Jason Cable-Rowe, thanks so much for joining us today.